Okay, so this time we're asking how large an order has to be in the top 5%. So there needs to be 95% less than that amount. Our Excel function is now norm S inverse. This takes the percentage less than what you're looking for and gives you its z-score. So if you put in norm S inverse of 0.95, you'll get 1.645. So the z-score for the number we're looking for is 1.645. So we simply solve the z-score formula. Z is the x, the unknown, minus the mean, 400, divided by the standard deviation, 50, and the norm S inverse tells us that's 1.645. And so we solve this equation for x, and we get that x is 482.25. So to be in the top 5%, an order has to be for $482 or more. So to find the proportion less than a given x in a normal distribution, you find the z, and then you use norm S dist of z to get the desired proportion. To find the proportion greater than x, do the above and subtract from 1. And to find the proportion between two x's, find the proportion less than each and subtract. Draw a picture so you know what you're looking for. To find the individual with a given proportion less than it, take norm S inverse of p, that will tell you the z-score, and then solve for x in the formula. So if you want to know what x has 20% below it, you would start with norm S inverse of 0.20. And be careful, if you want to know what x has 20% above it, well, norm S inverse doesn't read your mind, so you have to realize that means you want 80% below it, and you would start with norm S inverse of 0.80. More advanced question. At a different store, the mean is still $400, but to break into the top 5%, an order has to be for $515. What's the standard deviation? Well, just as before, when you use norm S inverse of 0.95, you get a z-score of 1.645. But now, it's the standard deviation you don't know. The 515, that's your cutoff for the top 5%. 400 is the mean. When you divide that by standard deviation, you get the z-score of 1.645. Well, solve that equation for standard deviation, and you get 70. There are four basic kinds of problems. Given an x, find a proportion or percentage. Given a proportion, find an x. Given a proportion, find the standard deviation, and one we haven't done in this screencast, given a proportion, find the mean. You'll find an example of all four of these kinds of problems in another screencast on our site called 4 Example Problems or something like that.